So now you all see. There you go.
All right. Hey, y'all. Welcome to our live tonight with Paranormal History. I am going to be the host today, your friend and lovely Jennifer. We have Scott joining us. We have Laura. Oh, I'm kind of going reverse. I don't know which way I'm at. Scott and Laura. We have Gail, all from our team with Paranormal History. Oh, and there's Tracy. Our guest tonight happens to be Faye. We've had her on before, and we're wondering how to pick her mind and have her back. So join us if you will. Welcome, Faye. Glad to have you back.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me back.
So, have you been a little busy lately?
Not really. I mean, well, I've been busy on the ship and investigating and whatnot, doing the ghostly things since my job's been on the light side because, it's not busy season for that. So, yeah, seeing what I can get with connecting with the spirits there.
That's it? Nothing else going on?
No, not really. No, I am reaching out to different locations and whatnot and see if I can't get into some locations that I investigated before COVID and see if I can't get back in there. So hopefully I can get that going.
That'd be cool. Any of the ones that we investigated in the past?
I've reached out to Jackson, the National Hotel in Jackson, and trying to get in there to the jail and courthouse. So that's in the works. Looks pretty promising. So hopefully we can get in there soon. So that's gonna be exciting.
Awesome.
Under new ownership. So
it is. Okay. Just let you all know, there's a town called Jackson, in California. It's pretty much, I guess you could say, within the Gold Rush line of things. And there's, what would you say that this is a kind of 1940ish, 30ish decor?
Something along those, kind of.
It's an old courthouse, and then it has an old jail cell at the bottom. And it is haunted depending on who is there. Because some people, So Faye, you've been there. How many times have you been there?
Twice. I've been there twice. Yeah.
That's right. So you want to go back? What unfinished business? Oh, hello, Sarah. What unfinished business do you have in the courthouse?
Actually, when we were there last was before Ghost Adventures went out there.
Oh my God, that's why does that seem to happen a lot with us?
So I kind of want to go
to Ghost Adventures, but it seems like we've done something, and then all of a sudden they're doing something that we already did. It happens.
Yeah. So I kind of want to go back out there and really see what kind of the energy is, what the spirits are up to. I don't know. Because right now it's in the beginning of stages, so I don't know.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the comment.
No, same here. Really, how many teams have been in there since then? What the activity's been, like I said, it's under new ownership for like the last year is what I've gathered. So, when I'm hoping to be able to get in there and talk with them and find out really what's changed. And then you have COVID and all that stuff. So, me, like our goal was, or at least with me personally, is like, going to locations that Ghost Adventures have been to or vice versa is really just to see how the energy is changing in the spirits, how they interact with the different types of groups and whatnot. So,
but you said this time with the hotel, we really didn't investigate the hotel. So do you plan on doing more with it or just staying at the hotel?
Well, they had asked me to also possibly investigate the hotel. So hopefully,
Just so y'all know, once again, this hotel is in the middle of Gold Rush area, or for history, and it is also on the paranormal charts for being haunted. We did stay in the hotel once, and we didn't have really anything happen while we were there, but things happen to different people.
Well, and plus when we were actually at the hotel, we were tired. We weren't there that long.
No,
we visited the town, went there, and we were, and then we investigated and we went back pretty much to sleep. So, you're exhausted after a night of prancing around in the building in the dark for hours.
Horsing around in the building that was the lighter part of it. I mean, I remember being serious, but I think you took the reins on the more serious note, honestly.
Yeah.
What else do you have planned? What else?
Well, with that, and then, I've been trying to, this week it didn't because there's just so much actual other physical work, but trying to just on the ship, on the USS Hornet, just do one location roughly around the same time like every Friday. We've done it 3 weeks in a row. And each week the activity has declined as the weather had declined. So trying to see how that goes and continue on with that. This, like I said, we didn't this weekend because there was just so much, other stuff going on. And next week it won't happen. I mean, they have their own ghost tour going on next week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those little things on a weekend, try to do around the same time. But yeah, we've dealt with the rain, the season, and the last time we were there was pretty quiet.
Right. Well, how is everything going? Because all that rain that came through in California, it pretty much almost flooded a lot of California. So how did the Bay Area fare?
Well, the areas that I drove, I remember the first week we had that huge storm come in. I mean, with me usually up in Magalia with the hills, dealing with all the hills and stuff. Now dealing with flat grounds and areas that are flooding, it caused some anxiety for me to have to drive back home. There were some areas flooding and people still driving like crazy and whatnot. But there's a lot of flooding in Alameda as well. But they managed after that first large storm that came in to fix what they needed to, clear the gutters and whatnot. So, and then the ship, of course, had leaks as it always does. It's an old ship.
It's an old ship that was decommissioned after was it Vietnam or Korea? It was one of those two wars.
It was 70. It was decommissioned. Yeah.
Right. So it was shortly after one of those wars.
Yeah.
And almost sold for scrap metal.
Exactly. Very close to that.
Yeah. All right. So that's cool. It looks like you have a lot. Does anyone have any questions?
I've got a question for you. For I forgot your name there, Faye. It's right in front of me. Sorry, dear.
It's all right. It's all right.
I've got a question for our guest, shall we say? That'd be better, wouldn't it? I'm not going to do any poses, don't worry. They'll keep them till later on for the calendar. I forgot the question was. So you say you've been on locations and ghost adventures and been to. Now, I know everybody's got an open opinion on ghost shows in general, as far, that's what I'm going to say. Have you picked up any activity in these places that's been similar to what Ghost Adventures has picked up?
Have we gotten the same kind of activity that they picked up or evidence?
I think
say,
we've got a robot here or something like that. You ever validate what they've picked up?
No, we seem to get better evidence. if honestly, in my opinion, I mean, they always seem to say there's evil or demonic kind of entities that they come across. We haven't experienced that.
So you've never met a demon there?
No, but I also going in with being very positive and loving and all that. So I'm one of these believers. You go in, you kind of get what you put out. So if I'm going in being loving, I don't think I'm going to, not that it will never happen that I don't deal with somebody that's a little angry or whatnot, but so far I've been greeted very nicely and gotten great evidence and, nothing like they've captured on show or shown on the shows.
So somebody's away. Who's disappeared?
Who disappears? Laura.
Laura, yeah.
Why, Laura? She's having.
What's
my comments?
Difficulties. But Faye's right. It's one of those things. What was it? The National Exchange Hotel. The courthouse. The
Miner's Cabin.
That's right. That's right. The Miners. Haven't had enough of that place yet. The Miners Cabin, and then of course we had that personal case that was private. That they ended up somehow. Yeah. That's all we're going to say on that one.
We're seeing COVID earlier on locations. What I know over here, and obviously everywhere shut down here, as it did over there, with COVID. But what we have found, that we book places because we're Scottish and we're too tight-fisted to pay the money, basically. But all the prices were all hiked away up as soon as a lot of these places gradually reopened. Is it the same over there?
Yeah, there's a lot of places that I feel that are obviously over investigated, and you kind of wonder, like some of the ones out east and whatnot, like Waverly Hills and stuff. I mean, that's been visited by multiple teams, different TV shows. And part of me, eventually I want to go, not so much to history or otherwise, but just to really see how much energy or what's going on is because of all the people visiting. What are we going to be able to find that's actually from the location or because of all the energy that's been creative, or the false stories that might be grown into something else. But I don't know. I mean, I think some places are just overhyped in some locations, but I think right now, this type of year, I'm noticing a lot of teams in locations are really getting going now. I mean, is it going the same out there for you?
Excuse me. Oh, God, Jennifer, calm down.
No, it's funny because it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, thrown back at you. Go.
It's like tennis, isn't it? It's like bang here, and straight back. After the sort of final lockdown and we get the go ahead to go, we went straight to Edinburgh. It was like, it was like going on holiday basically. We were straight to Edinburgh. But the paranormal community, that's just my opinion, in the UK got off to a kind of slow start after, we were all released.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like we were on prison or something, doesn't it? Teams started gradually, I think the problem here was that a lot of teams were still weary of going out because of COVID. Nobody was really sure, is it gone? Is it still hanging about?
Mm-hmm.
Do we go out? I can't mind when we first went out. Where did we first go, girls? Do you mind? My memory's shocking. That's why I forgot your name, Faye. My memory's terrible.
You guys have been a lot of places.
First went out?
Well, I mean, just in general with my normal job on the ship, being the events manager, it was slow. People were frightened, like, do we do this or do we not? It was a gradual thing, and now it's just like full force now. It's like, it seems like now that it's a new year, things are just kind of pretty much back to normal. Teams are out there. They're, everybody wants to get out there. Like, even same with me. I was like, okay, let's get going again. And now it's more of like, how much more is happening because how many people passed away they didn't know they passed, all this stuff with COVID, everything else. I mean, it's changed so much, and probably a lot of these locations have probably not even been investigated since before. So it's going to be interesting. And it's just kind of one of those things that I'm going to be, trying to look, at least take note of it. Like, okay, nobody's investigated this location since this time. Has it changed? Has there been increased deaths in some of these communities because of COVID? Because there was. I mean, so it kind of makes you wonder how much it's going to affect that on that end as well.
This is going to sound a stupid question. People know me, so they know I can ask dumb questions now and again. It's just one of these things that pop into your head and you think, so I'm going to ask it. During the whole lockdown period, do you think that spirit missed being investigated? These places get done all the time, for instance. Do you think that they actually missed, maybe they were sitting there thinking, well, where is everybody?
Well, I know from my experience on the Hornet, because I was still there working and we were doing little mini investigations during it. Some of the spirits we using like the Spirits Box or like some of like the Spiritus apps and those types of things where we're getting some feedback. They were aware that there was a pandemic. They were aware that we need people to come back to the ship to keep it afloat. So it would be interesting to see if some of these locations realize that is same. Like, they're aware of it, so it was interesting to get kind of response of that. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we know that's pandemic. They're like, something like a response was like, people will come back, keep the ship going. I mean, they were very much aware of it. So it was really cool.
Did you ever have a spirit say COVID?
Not to my knowledge.
No.
No.
Yeah, they didn't even say, when we were at the miners' cabin in the middle of the whole COVID thing, they didn't not once utter the words COVID. But I think I agree with Faye. They know. They know something's going on. They know something's not quite right.
But it's nice to be missed. You know what I mean? It's nice of
No. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, and you think about it too, because like some of them, especially some of these locations that experienced different pandemics through the eras. I mean, to them, it probably wasn't any much really different seeing us masked and walking around either. I mean, it's probably, oh, I remember that. Could probably relate in some levels.
Probably. Especially, what is your thought on the one? If you go through for historical preferences, and we had the flu pandemic that was across the world in 1918. And it lasted 2.5 years, just like this one did. And I'm just wondering, because I was thinking that maybe similar to that, did they remember that? If they were, I guess you say, old enough ghosts to remember that, do they compare it to what happened now? But then no one was really investigating them.
Right. But it'd be interesting to kind of like on an investigation, just kind of question the spirits. Like, hey, were you around when this happened before? You know, did you have to experience as well? How was it for you to have to walk around being masked all the time when you really didn't want to, but you knew you had to? You know.
Well,
it'd be interesting to see,
because it was also during the flu pandemic happened during wartime, so. It'd be, I don't know about you. I'm wondering if those that are on the Hornet remember that, because it was during wartime. So I wonder if it strikes a little more home with them, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, definitely, since I'm there a lot, I can always definitely be some of the questioning I ask and to see if they remember when they had to do it, or they recognize with the mask and stuff.
You told me that you like to go away from the common questions, the questions that everyone else is asking, because that's what everyone seems to be focused on. I mean, we touched on that the last time when we were talking about Preston Castle. Are you still doing that? Are you still going away from the normal questions?
I definitely, because you know me, I don't like to ask so many questions, especially if you're taking a group around, everybody's firing questions. I had one group one time where they were asking the typical questions. How old were you? When did you die? What year? This and that. And I asked, I said, do you think we're the spirits? And we got the response of yes. So someone's like, I never thought of that. I go, well, think about it. I mean, it could be happen. You know, I mean, who knows? Who knows what dimension they're seeing us through? I mean, anything's possible, right? But the fact that they responded to that question was pretty cool.
Sorry, Dave, before you go.
No, I was just saying, do you find, at least I know that I find when I ask the oddball questions, or at least when I ask, like I'm in the room and having a conversation with them, I get better responses. Do you feel that is also similar, or that treating them as if they are people versus, when did you die? You know.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, for me personally, I don't like to ask somebody when they died, because maybe they're not aware that they're dead. So the way I look at it, if somebody lost a loved one, I don't go to them like, well, when did they die, or how did they die? I figure if that's something you want me to know, you're going to tell me. And that's the way I look at it with the spirit as well. You know, I'm going to them like I would anybody else, show them respect, talk to them, try to get to know them, and see if they're drawn to me enough to really want to give me some answers if possible. I don't expect a response. I love a response, and I'm always thanking them for it. And I'm always explaining. I'm always going, hey guys, you know, when we're doing a tour, hey guys, I brought new friends. They're hoping to get to know you, and they want you to get to know them. So, you know, because I tell people it's like going to a party. You don't know people. You got to make yourself known. You got to give that personality and that good energy out to see if somebody's going to be drawn to you. And it's the same with the energy, you know, the spirits as well, the way I look at it. So
out of all the places, this is more of you and I, where you and I have been together. Out of those two places, or two places, more than two places, out of all those places that we have been, what do you think is the most oversaturated place that we've been?
Oversaturated as far as just investigating?
All of it.
All of it.
Well,
the Washoe Club. Washoe Club's oversaturated. The Hornet, I mean, we still get some good, you know, stuff, but the other locations we get, like the Miners Cabin. I mean, the Miners Cabin. I mean, people go there, but I don't think it's oversaturated just yet, because it's not one of those things you can always get into.
It's fluctuated.
Yeah, and then as far as I know, with the Jackson Jail and Courthouse, I don't think it's been that active. I mean, that visited that often as either.
What about the Queen Mary?
The Queen Mary. Definitely oversaturated. Too much of a fun house to make the experience a real one, which is sad and unfair to the actual spirits that are there.
Preston Castle.
Well, we've had great experiences there. Sadly,
Mm.
I've only been there twice. We investigated the one time, which is an amazing experience in itself.
I thought you'd been there 3 times.
Well, I went there for like a day thing. I mean, investigating wise, it was just the once.
Right, the one time, right. I'm pretty sure but you've still been there 3 times.
Yeah. Just kind of went there during the day. We went there during the day, didn't get in, but then I was there for around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, yeah. And we went through it for a little bit. Excuse me. But yeah, that place gets visited a lot too, as well. But it's like, sadly, the building is. I mean, the last time we were there, I mean, there was less and less places to investigate because of the condition of the building. So
the Mitzvah Hotel. We didn't investigate it, but we were there. What do you think?
Mitzvah. I don't know. I'd love to go just to say I've been there and try to see if any claims after the fact to see if anything resonates with it. And of course, I will never do the Clown Motel. Everybody goes there, apparently.
I have no idea. All I know is all those clowns and all, they're dusty and it's like, ew. I like clowns and it's gross.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But okay, hold on. I'm thinking.
Can I jump out? Do you like it back?
Go right ahead.
What Faye was saying about the spirits see us as spirits or people. We're doing a place called Loudon Kirk. We've been doing it for, I don't know, a year and a half or something, 2 years, something like that. 2 weeks ago, we done an investigation there, and Laura was recording it, her phone, and she played it back. She went through the recordings, and correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, one of them picked up somebody saying they are real, talking about us. Is that right, Laura?
Yeah, said they are real.
So that made us think, well, when they're saying they are real, are they telling, because we're kind of almost sure that we had 3 or 4 spirits there beside us that night. So we were thinking, well, are they saying to the other spirits, look, they're real, they're no spirit, they're real people kind of thing. That makes sense.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. So are spirits able to see other spirits, is what you're saying, or just to see themselves as another?
No, what I mean is when spirits see us, when we're out investigating, do they think that, we're other spirits? But on that EVP that we caught, the spirit, whoever spirit was turned around and says, they are real.
Oh.
It must be my accent. Is it my accent?
No, I understood that they are real, but I don't know if that's not where I took it. I took it as in, do you know what context they were talking about? Were they talking about you? Were they talking about what's around them? I mean, sometimes Faye and I have noticed this. We'll ask a question, and then we don't get that answer until an hour later. Context.
But yeah. But I mean, that is a good, because you could take it anyway. Like them looking at it, like saying you guys are real, or they're saying they're real. Yeah.
Not in the context of we were chatting, obviously, and asking questions, and I was recording, and as I was listening back to the recording, it's as if spirit's talking to another spirit and acknowledging the fact that we are human form, we are not spirit form. They're different. Quite clever.
Yeah. It's kind of like me asking them if they look at us as spirits and they're real. Yeah, exactly. Because we don't know.
As I said, whenever we get an EVP, it's always in context how we choose to interpret it and how we want to go through and decide, okay, they said this, but did they mean exactly what we're talking about, or are they talking about something else that they talked about later to themselves? So now it's all up into interpretation. So I'm not sure.
So and at least another question, as in, so are we visiting them or are they visiting us?
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. So even though we hear it and we're like, okay, that it makes sense to you in that moment. And Faye and I have had this. We'll have EVP sessions, and in the moment we'll have something talk right back, and then we have to think to ourselves, going, were they responding to us right then, and that's why it makes sense, or were they responding to something we said way earlier?
Yeah.
So it's hard. So it's like, okay.
Or they could be talking to each other. Yeah.
Correct. Are they talking to each other? Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it all depends on context. But in the moment, that's why I'm hopping in on this bandwagon here. I think in the moment, we want to make sense of what we hear. We have the questions. Then we have when we listen back to the EVP, we want it to make sense. Our brain is going to try to make sense out of what we hear. That's being human.
Well, even being around other investigators, and when they're using a spirit box and stuff, they'll ask a question, but they'll get some kind of response, and they're automatically trying to make it fit the situation, regardless if it doesn't make sense. And it's like, well, maybe that's for something else, but it's normal for us to try to make every response fit what you're asking or fit the location you're at. So it makes sense. Like, oh, I'm getting that great response now, and that may not always be. They might be talking to somebody else.
Anything goes in the paranormal field. That's what I've learned over the years.
See, that's why I love paranormal, because there's that many different strings to the paranormal. You just never know. And
right, you never know. That's why it's all theory. It's all, hey, let's keep learning. Let's try to keep learning. Oh, well, that variable got tossed out the well. We can't use that anymore because that got proven. So as soon as a theory gets proven, it can no longer be tested, since paranormal is unknown. And why do I have a chirp going on?
One of your smoke detectors or something?
No, I think my detector's battery's dying, and I hear a chirp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a smoke or whatever.
Yeah, the fire. I'm like, what the hell? Really, in the middle of all this?
That's all right. We'll just listen to the chirping. It's all good. It's your house.
Well, at least it's not a constant chirp. It's not a constant chirp.
So,
well, it's like, yeah.
No, you go, Faye. You're the guest. You fire in.
No, I was going to say, usually, and Jen can vouch for this, I like to record all the time when we go to a location. Not just when we're asking questions.
I did mention that in my podcast.
Yeah, I love to record all the time. I mean, I have a lot of recorders, so if we did burst session, because I'm always afraid we're going to miss something, but I love to capture everything because of the experience that I've had with recording all the time. As we're just shooting the shit, they're responding. They're piping in, or like Jen, remember the EVP when you forgot your SD card?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't so nice, but but it totally went with what she was saying at the time.
At the time it did, and that's what we thought. We actually did think that it was about the SD card.
Yeah. But it's interesting because they're going to pipe in when they want to. I mean, it's great to get direct answers to what we're asking, but we don't know. Like you said, we don't know if they're talking to us or about us or to each other.
We're hoping they're talking to us.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the ultimate goal, isn't it? So anyway, I've been trying to convince Faye when she's available to come up my way so we can do some investigating up here in Oregon, because I have a couple areas I have lined up, and I will say having my husband around helping me, but it's very soloing it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard.
I get up there, Faye. Get up to Oregon. Probably take 10 hours, because you Americans, everywhere you go, it seems to take hours. Whereas over here, it's like, I mean, we're like half an hour away from Gail and Tracy, 2 minutes away from Laura.
No. We're more than 8 hours away from each other.
Yeah, it's a ways.
It's a ways.
You can just go for the day.
It's between 8 and 10 hours away, depending on the traffic.
Yeah, it would definitely have to be a 2 or 3. It would be like might as well just take a week off vacation and take a few days. Shit. Yeah, because travel time.
Yeah, so I am. Then again, I'm not against going back down into California investigating, but there's certain things I probably will never want to go back to. Is there anything that you've investigated, whether it was with me or with someone else or a different team, that you would never willingly go back to unless you really had no choice?
No.
Nothing?
No. I can't think
You
of
sure?
anything. What place?
I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking you. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm like, is there a place you're thinking
No,
of? That
no,
I've
there
never
isn't.
came
I
back
just-
here, and
I just
don't
want to make sure
remember.
you're sure because the only place I think I will never go back to is probably because I'm done with it, and that's Preston Castle. I'm done, been there, done that. It's okay. Goodbye.
It is definitely one of those places that if I was invited to go investigate with somebody, I'll do it. But to initiate it and pay what they want to do it, nah, I
Like,
wouldn't.
would you go back to Melvin Manor?
Yes, I would go back
Okay.
out there.
Because you've been out there. I haven't. Actually, would you like to talk a little bit about that? It's in Iowa.
Yeah, it's in Malvern, Iowa. It used to be, I guess, at one point a hotel, and then it was an insane asylum type thing for a little bit, and then I guess before it closed down was for don't quite remember historically wise, but it was an interesting place. There was claims of getting children voices, but there were so many walks of life. There's history of a little girl that they found dead on the property. You can look that up to get details, but the property is pretty large, and I had some great EVPs. Nothing really scary happened, but there's areas that you just kind of there's areas energy wise the way it felt were a little bit more eerier than others, and then just random sense. I mean, because last time I was there was before COVID, obviously, but they were trying to leave it as pretty much close to what it was when they purchased it. Trying not to change a lot, just leave it as is, and they were gonna fix up a few rooms just for for people to stay eventually. But I don't know. I haven't really talked to Josh lately to find out what's changed.
Josh Hurd would be the main go-to person. He is also a kind of paranormal enthusiast, so to speak. I mean, he's done in paranormal investigations. I don't know if I can get him on for paranormal history. However, he is the one in charge of Melvin
Yes.
Manor.
And they do a lot of events there now. I mean, they get some of the TV personalities there. They get small team people there. I mean, it's
Can you blame them?
Picked up. No, not at all. I mean, it's an interesting place. The town's pretty. It's just a tiny little old town and everything. So I enjoyed it the couple of times I went there. Got some great audio. Don't have it anymore.
Oh, I know. That's so sad.
Lost all that stuff. Anything that was
you lost a lot of your stuff, but you went through a lot. To lose a lot of your things that were really A-class EVPs because of the fire. I mean, that's horrendous.
I'm lucky it was simply the audio of me sending it to people going, hey, what do you hear in this? Tell me what you hear, because it's just so clear to me. So at least I have some with, emails that I can look back with some people I shared with and go, oh gosh, I remember that trip, for whatever location. But yeah.
That's very cool. Now, I'm trying to, because it said you used to do a lot of other stuff with another company and go out and do investigations. I can't remember that company. What was it that you went out and you were?
That was Ghost Hunts USA. I only did 2 locations with them.
Are they still around? Do you know?
They're still around, and I am now helping, just getting started to help out another group, similar type of thing that do events. It's called Get Haunted.
Oh, hey, let's hear a little bit about that.
They're putting on a lot of locations. They're hoping to get some stuff out here in the West Coast. I guess why I'm looking at locations to see what we can do to get going. But I'm so new, and they brought in a bunch of new people. But they're a great group of people. They're holding locations. They're even going to do the Conjuring a few other places, but the Conjuring House I think 4 or 5 times this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know all the locations they're going to.
No, interesting that they're choosing the Conjuring House. That's so controversial.
I know. Part of me, because everybody has different experiences with the Conjuring House. I would like to go just to see, because me, I go in very open-minded, not paying attention to anybody's experience or any historical claims of the place or, the family's experiences and what.
Oh, by the way, that's per usual.
Yeah. So, but I like to go in and just see what I can come up. It would be interesting just to see my perception of the location and what I experienced, because everybody's different. But it's interesting. Some people have like really bad experiences, and other people can have, I don't want to go there again. So it's really hard to say, you know.
What about Amityville? The Amityville house, you ever been there?
How many? What? Sorry.
Amity,
Amityville.
the
I've been at
Amityville
that.
house.
Oh, the Amityville Hell? No, I've
Yeah.
never been there. The same thing.
Our friend
Same
Jason
thing.
has been there. Outside of it.
Outside. Yeah, those types of locations would be interesting to go to just to see what you
Well,
experience.
it's a private residence. It's
Yeah.
it's not. They don't. I
Well,
don't
even
think
like the Feliska house, the axe.
Oh, the axe murder. Yeah.
Yeah, so all
The
these
axe murders.
historical locations, these Lizzie Borden, those types of things, because they all allow investigations to eventually go there to see what you get. But again, now at this point, with them constantly being visited, how much is actual true energy or spirits compared to what people are now changing?
See, that's the same as East Drive over here. We've got a chance to do East Drive later on in the year, and there's been that much. It's investigated to death. It's part of the fun. I think it's 7 nights a week. And we made films about it, documentaries about it, maybe. But some people went in and says, oh, there was this, it was a demon, blah, 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 blah. And then the other teams go in and say, get nothing. The majority of people I spoke to says, no, there's nothing there.
It's kind of like the Portland Shanghai tunnels.
It's just
for the way I would look at something like that, I would start looking at the teams and their claims.
Yeah.
What is it they're bringing into it? I mean, what's their perception of things? What are they going through? How much is it really happening, and how much of it is in their own mind or
And how
a
much is
natural
brought
sound?
attachment?
Yeah, and you have to worry about that too. You got the attachment. I mean, you go into the way I tell people, I go in, like I said, going in being very positive. How many people go in and are just jerks at a location, and they get treated as such jerks? So if somebody's going to come in, just causing mayhem, and they're getting treated as such, of course, to them, they're gonna say it's demonic or whatnot, instead of going, oh well, what did you expect? But that would be interesting. I mean, yeah, it would be more of looking at the teams, the claims, and kind of go from that, especially if it's being investigated that often. I mean,
it's been getting done for years. But I mean, it's the Ghoul Gang that wants to collab with us to go down, and I think it's the kind of place that, even though you're 50-50, it's the kind of place you need to go to experience it yourself. And make up your, not that I'm disbelieving teams, what have you, but you can listen to as many teams as you want, and they'll all have different accounts to use. But I think you really need to go to the place yourself and just, make your own mind up. Same as the Ivy House. I'll let the guys tell you about the Ivy House.
You go, girl.
No, it's fine. Yeah,
Oh my goodness, guys!
Don't fight about it. Just
I know, they're blown. I'm like, okay, they got this fight going on.
It's like getting in a door. It's like getting in a doorway and somebody's going out at the same time and say, "You go." No, on you go first. No, and you're there for half an hour deciding who's going to get it. No, you go, man, sister, I'll hold it.
See, they're the vultures in Jungle Book. Yep.
You're first by all means. Just make up your mind. I don't see what's it.
And lots of teams have done it. Obviously, the evidence has been pretty spectacular for some teams, but other teams have got nothing. So we decided, DIH, to collaborate with a few other teams and meet up and do the Ivy House. And it was a brilliant night, don't get it wrong. And it was fantastic. The house itself, the architecture, the Ivy House. But we experienced very little in terms of paranormal. Although That's you can't, it's not that but you can't just say that because we're here type thing. But it does, it's like we said, it does make you think actually about did these other things experience it. Not that I'm just in any way whatsoever, but it does make you think, you know, if you travel such a long time, there's such a famous place, investigate such a famous place, you do expect that at least something.
That's true.
It was a flat night, let's be honest, gang.
Yeah.
Would you think, Gail, what did you make of the Ivy House?
It was a good night. I quite like the fact, obviously, that the old paperwork and that lying about many years ago, and old newspaper stuff, so I found that quite interesting. Obviously, it was a shame we didn't get much evidence there, but it still was a good night regardless. It just was near all night. And it happened.
Exactly. Would you think, Jennifer, just say you get a certain night and it's just not happening for you? The spirits aren't in the mood.
Yeah, that has happened several times. It happened just recently in my own home. Before they left, Upton left, I should say. They didn't like the fact that I was telling them that I didn't appreciate them being so negative, and they just didn't respond. They actually did a whole entire day of not doing anything, not responding, not doing. But I will say that now they're gone. The negative ones are gone. But it's a hit and miss. I'll be in one place. Even John, my husband John, when he's with me, he's a skeptical believer. He's very skeptical of things, and but he wants to believe that there's something more. So I know skeptical.
That's a new word. You just invented a new word.
I'm constantly inventing new words. Whew.
Yeah, same here, right?
Ain't that the truth? So when he was filming yesterday, we were filming in the town, and there's areas that I knew for a fact have something, whether it was residual or whatever. It felt like it was like, nope, sorry, here, close sign. It's like they took the shades and pulled the shade down and go, we're not here. That's what it felt like. I'm like, well, that's not cool. But yeah, it was one of those things. That's why we only did 30 minutes worth, because it was just like not getting anything. I'm like, I'm not going to go another 30 minutes of live if I'm not getting anything. This is ridiculous. But yeah, Faye knows this too, don't you? We've been in something for over hours and just nothing.
Yeah. I mean,
and then the client goes, well, this happened the night before, and Faye's trying to calmly tell them, well, maybe they're not willing to talk to us.
And not right now. I mean, that's why you try to see where the most activity is, or time frame, ideally, if there is that noted, and then that way you can try to investigate at that time. But I also was thinking about, like, with the claims of the different teams and different locations too. You know, kind of wonder by looking at the teams, because I've experienced some teams, they're so busy just hanging out and drinking. They're not really investigating. It's a way of gathering and just hanging out, you know. Kind of makes you wonder how much real investigating. Well, nothing happened, but okay, well, maybe you didn't notice there was stuff happening, you know. But that's normal for everybody. I mean, not so much just partying or anything like that. It's just really how much are you open to something happening. There could have been all kinds of things happening, but you just weren't paying attention.
It's when they take a cigarette break about every 10 minutes. You know, it's right, well, we're going to stop now and then we'll be back. And then 10 minutes later, you know, we're going to stop now and then we'll be back. The spirits will be sitting there thinking, you know, what the hell are you doing? Did you come
exactly
in or talk to us?
Faye and I and other members, when I was part of ALPS, I still consult for ALPS from time to time, but we had a contract for all of the members who were part of the team. We had a contract. There were certain things that was like a big no-no. One of them was multiple smoke breaks. We understand that you have a smoke break, but This is the
Chew some
investigation.
gum, do something, because we're investigating, especially if it's a location where there are claims of cigarette smell, phantom smells like that. Obviously, we don't want somebody coming in from a fresh smoke break, and I mean, that just is contaminating.
We also,
false
what was it? We
evidence.
also had light. If we were doing a perfume, not to do a heavy perfume, body spray was okay. No heavy perfumes. We had a lot on there that says, "Hey, this is what's expected of you as an investigator. This is what if you can't abide by these rules, then sorry."
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my favorite one is wearing the appropriate shoes that don't make noise.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
You want to talk about that one, Faye? Why that one got added?
Well, because on the ship, one of the directors she's in charge of the paranormal groups.
And
She wears boots.
She's a
sweetheart. She wears boots. And on a ship, doesn't matter where you are, the sound carries. So you might think it's somebody from back in the day walking down the passageway when actually she's like 2 decks up walking across the hangar bay. You're just hearing that sound. So our thing was, most claims when you really go to places you get like sounds of footsteps or phantom smells, obviously you want to eliminate that with your own group. So you can say, okay, I am smelling this, or I am hearing this, and it's not us contaminating our own environment. Because I see a lot of that. People that wear jackets that are noisy. And I'm like, oh, did you hear that whooshing sound? Well, that was your jacket. The whole point is to try to eliminate contaminating your own investigation. And a lot of people don't look at it that way,
I think I still have a copy on my computer of the contract, ALP's contract. Of
you probably do.
I probably do. What's expected to be a decent investigator, and there is an entire section of do not do.
Well, yeah, and even the requirement is like, if you are not feeling well, you have a chronic pain or something, or you're having a huge dispute or mentally stressed, we didn't want you on that investigation. We don't want you to be that weak link. We wanted everybody to be as healthy as they could. I mean, we can't always eliminate all stress and stuff, but basically to our best of abilities, physically, mentally, and everything else, so that way we can do the job justly, because we did a lot of residentials. So it's one thing historical, you're paying to go, but residentials, you want to help those clients the best you can by not causing problems or being a weak link to the situation.
Do you find it's always worse? The more people you've got, the more chance contamination and the less kind of control you see. You've got 30 people. I know people who take 30 people to an event, and there's maybe two people hosting the event, and they're trying to control the 30 people. And as you're saying, with noises, with footwear or jackets or just whatever in general. Do you get that a lot of issues like that?
We do. I know when I do tours, I explain to people, obviously when I ask if anybody's recording anything, video, or going to be analyzing that stuff. So tell people, okay, they're recording, so don't whisper, just talk at a low tone. Try not to be talking the whole time. Don't be wandering around all the time. There's, claims of walking and this and that. We don't want to contaminate the evidence for these people. I've gone to many with, event things where people are just everywhere. And to me, it's one of those things you need to, as the lead person, whether on just an individual tour or as an overall company putting on an event, should talk about these things. Don't be talking loudly through the hallways as people are trying to investigate. You're going to have your different levels of investigators. You got your newbies that have no clue and excited, and you got true investigators that thought, hey, got nothing else to do, let's go to here, it's kind of open and let's do it. But they want to have it do the best they can in that situation. It's just showing respect for each other is ultimately what I'm trying to tell people. Just respect each other.
Would you agree that our worst contamination that happened was at the Washoe Club during that event of the Spirit of the Old West?
Well, yeah, because the bar's open till 2:00. The sound level of that, and then you get people coming in. They've been drinking all day, so they're walking around drunk. You got people with some of these events use it as a space for picking up people. So you got people dressing with stilettos and different things that are very distracting and loud. So I know when I go to those things, I know I'm not going to get some serious investigating unless there's a time after a lot of these people kind of bow out because it's not as fun and exciting, or they're just too drunk and decide to crash out.
Right.
Then we could do the best investigating we can with what time's allotted at that point. But it's tough because you go to some of these small towns like Virginia City during the summer, bars are open late. Sound travels. The buildings are old. They're not soundproof. So you got to keep in mind a lot of noise contamination and note it. So that way, when you're reviewing audio or your video, like, hey, this is what's going on.
Do you recall that when we were there during for the investigation that they didn't split up the people or the people into teams properly? Because I don't know if you recall, I remember being on the second floor while people were on the third floor trying to conduct an EVP sessions at the same time on top of each other. And this team up here yelled at this team down below, telling them to shut up. And then this team got mad, started yelling at this team, going, well, we were here first. So have you had that experience with anything else like that? I mean, that's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. I've never seen such a discombobulated chaos.
I think with that particular, because that's, to me, I look at that as a prime example of a lot of don'ts on an investigation or an event, is because it was just a free for all. Okay, now we're going to go in this area to investigate. Go. And so you have the different areas. You have the different people, variations, people that are drunk, again, people that are loud and extremely loud and not caring what everybody else is doing, and those that are just walking around, just looking around. They're not investigating.
I remember Debbie Constantino, she actually left part of that area because she couldn't take the arguing of everyone else. I remember she disappeared for a little bit. She's like, I can't do this. And I can't blame her.
The last event that you didn't go to, that same thing, was there was one guy pretty drunk, and he was going to make this poker game going, and he was yelling and screaming. There was nowhere you can go without hearing it. And then it was like he was having a fight with himself or with somebody, but he was just trying to stir up the energy. But I'm like, that's not what I want to be part of. There's a way you can still stir that up without being so loud and intrusive with everybody else's investigation. So it was, you just, like I said, with events like that, I just look at it as like, we're going to have a lot of people that's going to be disruptive and not courteous. It's like going bowling and not everybody knows the etiquette about waiting for your turn, And so
waiting for, if this lane bowls, this one waits, vice versa.
Yes. Yeah. They just go up and bowl without waiting. So it's just about courtesy. And a lot of people just don't understand that. They're not told that, like, hey, let's be courteous. I've seen some events where they do explain those things, be mindful of this and that. But you're going to have everybody, different walks of life, that just don't understand, or just going to be the next group of people that's going to go through yelling and trying to mimic some other ghost TV show or something.
What's out of everything that you've done, whether it was with me or with other teams, what was the biggest irritation you had on an investigation?
No one taking charge of the disrupted people, because it wasn't my place to do it. It's I would love to say it, but I'm not going to stir the pot and have that person, whether drinking or just a strong personality, come at me because I'm opening my mouth. It wasn't my event. I'm not going to say something. Now, if I'm leading a group around and I have somebody that's a little loud, I'm going to say, hey, can you keep that down, please? Because we have other people still investigating. So with that, I will say something. But if it's not my gig, I'll just kind of go, oh, crap, and then try to avoid that kind of thing and walk away. And
okay, so that's with those kind of gigs. Now, what about residential? Because we once upon a time had a team of 15 people, almost 15 people, actually between 13 and 15 people. Was there anything that you recall that bugged you the most about early on when you were first investigating? You were learning how to investigate. Is there anything that you thought that was like, wow, that's strange, that's weird, why are we doing that? Was there anything like that ever occurred in your head?
Well, I know the first case we went to, I remember at the time the lead person was like, you'll never be in a room by yourself. for two reasons: safety. Two, if something happens, you have a witness. First residential, we were all split up in separate rooms, and I'm like, I'm sitting here by myself. What the heck? I didn't like that.
I like being myself. No offense to your team, sounds bad. I like being myself. I'm not a loner, you know. I'm not antisocial, but I like to, you know, the darkest basement or whatever, just go down my cell and just, you know,
Right.
wander about. And
Right. But you're doing that. This is something she was told, or we were all told, that we do not investigate anywhere alone. And that's what she's getting at. So
and then the first one, they're like, you go in this room, even though people were close by. But you're like,
this is when Faye was first with the team. This is when she was learning how to be an investigator. And the team lead contradicted herself.
Yeah. To me, it's about honesty. And then like, you know, the dishonesty with other clients. It wasn't like a flat out lie. It's talking about, oh, well, this is what happened to us here at this location, which we knew was not the truth. And to me, you're already starting an investigation on the lie. And to me, that's just wrong. Because how are you supposed to help somebody when you're already bringing in that negative into a location? So that's why I try to be very positive. I try to be very honest, you know, and if I don't know anything, I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, this, sorry, I don't know what your name is. It says Facebook user, so whomever you are, hi. Saying that I personally wouldn't investigate alone for safety reasons. I totally agree. There's a lot of places that you don't want to investigate alone for those safety reasons. Yeah. But if you're in an area that you've been in a lot, there's some areas like the Miners Cabin, Washoe Club. There's places I have been, Faye has been, where we feel comfortable stepping away from the group and knowing we're still safe, even though we're alone. But there are places that we've been, they're like, I'm not going in there alone.
There's times on the ship I do that. I'm like, nope.
Right, you're not going to go there alone because yeah, exactly. So it really depends on the situation, right? For the most part.
It really does.
She's a medium. She's coming on.
There you go, done it.
The show, but
now we have a name.
Yeah.
I like awesome thing. I do give it Donna's winners for safety reasons. Would you say, Jennifer, if it's a place you've been to many a time and you're familiar with it, then, you know, fair enough. It's like when I dumped Laura in Loudon Kirk.
I heard that he.
No, I don't mean I didn't dump her as in, you know, we're finished. I mean.
Oh, now I'm frightened. No, I'm not frightened. Then I'm more like, oh my god, if I finally come over to Scotland, am I going to just get dumped in a location? Go here, let's see what you find.
Yeah, when you wait, I was going to say if, but I'm going to say when.
Wait, I'm the process. My paperwork has not come back yet. It has started.
It's always paperwork, isn't it? It's
always, at least it started this time. I didn't have it started before. It started. I'm waiting for it to process.
It's always in the mail, isn't it? It's in the post. Oh, it's
always going to be in the mail.
Yeah, well, it is a passport, and passports right now are kind of on hold.
When you come over here, we're going to take you somewhere dark and dump you.
Oh, don't you dare! Oh, no. You do know that.
I've tried that with her.
I'll give you a torch. I'm not totally heartless. I'll give you a torch.
Okay, I can have a torch, but that's not going to do
by myself.
Look, Faye knows this. I have talked about this. I suffer from nyctophobia.
Fine.
That's illegal in Scotland.
Do you know what nyctophobia is?
That's illegal in Scotland.
Nyctophobia is the ultimate fear of complete darkness. Not just the dark. I can deal with the dark. Darkness, as in there's nothing.
You have a torch. If you want, I can stand it.
Sometimes that helps her, but it doesn't always.
Do you want to help me out here? Do you want to help me out? Where am I going? Put it this way.
It doesn't always help her because when she first joined the team, that was the one thing she said. And we went on the first time we went on the USS Hornet. We went to a location, and they're like, "Oh, turn your flashlight off." You couldn't see crap. I got on audio. Her pure panic. She panicked because it was pitch black. You couldn't see your hand like this. So then I started telling her, why don't we start testing and try to help you through this.
It's gotten better over the years, but it's still.
She can be okay depending on the situation. If she even sees a little beam of light, but it's like a small little red light or green light, she can focus on that and it helps her. But you cut that off, she can't do it.
That's just it's not so much. You know what? There's probably a fear out there with a better name than nyctophobia, but that's the closest thing I've got. And Faye knows this. Where am I pointing? This way.
This way.
I know, because I keep thinking I'm supposed to be pointing. Okay, that way. There we go. That it's not so much of the darkness, it's because of what I can feel now that one of my senses is completely eradicated. Now my other senses take over, including my sixth sense. So it's very unnerving.
I'll give you 2 torches. How's that?
How bright is the torch going to be? Is it one of those weak little torches, or do I get like a big flash, like the for?
No, you're not
He's going to give you a little pin light.
It's going to be one of these.
They're going to give you a box of matches, Jen, that doesn't do anything.
I'll give you a box of matches on a windy day. How's that?
He just wants to see me panic.
I've got a big flashlight, and that's not a euphemism. I've got a big flashlight. You know.
Oh no, I've had. Faye knows this. Faye has been helping me for years now, getting into places and trying to get me over this fear. Did you know it's considered an irrational fear? I'm like, it's not that irrational, guys.
But with us doing that, you've gotten closer to what's the cause of it, at least.
Or yes, has gotten closer because of Faye. Faye has helped me deal with finding the why. But Faye has been there to where she knows if it's pitch black, she's like, we're not sending Jennifer in because that's going to be a mistake. And
Wait,
the funny, but here's the funny part. Oh no, there's a funny with it. But if I'm willing to do it and I go in, regardless how I feel, guess what else happens? I get all kinds of EVPs because now they're talking because they're making fun of me.
They do make fun of her.
By the way,
They make fun of me because
They do make fun.
but does that not comfort you knowing that the spirits are making fun of you, so the sense of humour?
I don't know, but I just said Faye's been helping, and that's what's happened. However, Faye, where she helps me with that, I help her with her fear of spiders and other things. So it's all
I
good.
can still do without spiders.
You ever think you're the wrong profession?
She's got the spiders and snakes is yours.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
Which reminds me, Gail, you still do your own video loud and cut. I forgot about that.
Aye, that will be happening.
Aye, well, we'll see about that though. So
But I have no problem with spiders and snakes. They're fine. But you send me in something that there's no light, and Faye has obviously she's witnessed this several times. Unless I'm with somebody, I need to be with somebody, and or I have to have a torch, like you said. If I don't, I am useless as an investigator. I freeze. And then I hear everything talking around me, and then it annoys me because then they won't shut up. Let's see, the Whaley House. Oh no, I haven't.
I haven't either.
Once as you're okay, so when you're little and then when you're older, yeah, no, I have not been there. It's unfortunately, from what I understand, is one of those oversaturated places. A lot of people go there. A lot of people want to, and I don't know. It's the Whaley House. It's a hit and miss, honestly, from what I've been reading, and I've read a lot of stuff about the Whaley House. It's a hit and miss.
And I've seen pictures. I've had a guy that helps out on the ship recently went down there for vacation, and he sent me some pictures of the music. Him walking around for the tour during the day. And he goes, "You need to get down here." I go, "Well, yeah, I've only been to San Diego once in my life, and that was way after I graduated from high school. So it's been a few years."
Right.
Faye, on the Hornet, I mean, obviously there was a kind of commander at sea or whatever. Have you ever picked up on a sort of boss-like male or female, whatever, on the ship?
A male's voice?
A boss, as in charge, captain or admiral. or even a lieutenant?
We recently, and I have it on. I'm fixing it as a video to put on. Trying to do a new YouTube channel. We did a session up in the Admiral's cabin or the conference room, and we had flashlights, and we were getting a lot of responses with the flashlights, and we came across a different admiral. And it was really interesting with the responses we were getting because I had Steve go over because there's on a wall different admirals that served and the time they served on the ship. And so he was just randomly naming off names, and that were like, turn this flashlight on if it's you when you hear your name. And this one was what was it? Donald Davis was the name. The flashlight went on. So I started naming some other ones, went back to it, went back on. And so I'm like, oh, well, it's nice to meet you. And then I asked him, because everybody tends to talk about another admiral on the ship. And so I go, does it bug you when they ask you about that? And the response came back, you should ask the flashlight for yes. I'm like, oh, I can see how annoying that would be. So then I asked Steve to go look again. I go, when did he serve on board? And it was like 69, so which was right before the ship was decommissioned. And I said, oh wait, look at your phone, just Google, because I was using my phone to film, and see if he really passed. Because I go, he's still pretty young. I can't assume just because the flashlight on for this name twice that it really is him. And so I go, well, look to see if he had passed. And the flashlight for yes went on when I said that. And he looked it up, and the gentleman had passed in 98. So it was rather interesting. We were corresponding with them. Now, I still need to talk to the people in the department stuff and see if these people really were on the ship or not. Just because they were admirals too, that doesn't necessarily mean they were actually on the ship. So it's one of those things I want to really see. Was he on the ship, and how long was he actually on the ship?
Or was he assigned and never set foot on the ship? I mean, it's anything.
Exactly. So it's one of those things. Maybe he's visiting the ship because he's very much aware that we're doing restoration. He's happy with what he's seeing. So we were asking all these questions, and he said he wasn't stuck, that he just comes from time to time to check it out with the questions we were asking. So it was a great conversation. Just using the flashlights.
Why do you think? I mean, obviously, there's loads of different reasons why spirit still hangs about, for want of a better word. An example of, Loudon Cut, we picked up a gentleman called James Dempster. With quite a bit of evidence about this gentleman, and he tends to stick to the one bit beside the Dempster family burial plot down the back of the kirkyard. And what we think is he's there looking after his family, basically. Why do you think spirits are still kind of wandering about the Hornet? Is it maybe it was special to them, or they're not aware that that they've actually passed on? Are they still thinking that it's wartime? Or
from some of the responses I've gotten over the years being there, I think a lot of it, because back in the wartime, I mean, it was a different kind of brotherhood. I mean, when you're in the military, you're fighting for your country, your life's on the line all the time. I mean, it's a different kind of bond. I know with my grandfather, before he passed, he was part of an air group. Every year they went to a location, and granted, as the years went on, the group got smaller and smaller. But I mean, to be in touch with these people that you served in the war with, that when you go annually to a location, so you have a reunion annually, that's something. We don't even really do that really for high school, for other kinds of friends. I mean, family. Sometimes it's hard to get families together during the holidays. So there's a certain bond that I feel is just so strong that even after passing, someone come back just to see, or it maybe, and a lot of, even though it was a stressful time, was still a good time. There was that certain kind, like I said, a bond, a love, a passion that they're still drawn to. Like, hey, I'm going to go check out the Hornet. We've gotten responses where we have people that are just visiting the ship. They're not part of the crew. People come with people, so they're just checking it out and think it's really cool. I've come across spirits where they haven't passed on. They're scared. So then you got to think about what their religious background is. Is there any? They don't know what to expect, or they're just not ready to let go whatever's keeping them here. So I've experienced by asking questions these different types of things. So it's interesting. With a little bit we're getting with responses, to learn at least that much has really been cool for me.
Just what you say is a little bit. It's right. That's part of the thing that I love, and I think the rest of the team love. That it's when you go to the same place with yourself, it's a hornet. With us, I would say it's loud and cut. You keep getting back to the same place. It's like a jigsaw. You keep, if you're lucky enough and the spirits are in the mood, then you keep getting little bits and pieces. And it's try and fit how they fit together. If they fit together, does it make sense? Does one go with the other one? Does it no? Or if you maybe get 5-6 different bits of evidence, what one goes with what, if any, and it is like a puzzle. And if you get 2 bits that actually connect, and you can back it up, you can validate it, I think that gives you a kind of buzz, to say,
Right.
It's one of the kind of at the back, excellent to go. And it makes you want more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know with being on the ship, I'm lucky to be there, and I feel like sometimes I get more information at times depending on how open I am during that time, because sometimes we're not as open as we want to be. We might be a little bit more tired than we expected. But I feel with me being there so much and being respectful that I feel that they trust me. And a little bit more and more because I'm familiar. I'm there all the time. That they're going, oh, hey, there's Faye. Let's go talk to her, or let's go see what she's doing or who she's bringing along, kind of thing. So
I was just going to ask you that. Because again, with loud and cut, Laura will tell you this, because down the back, Laura used to be scared stiff again down the back, but now it doesn't bother her. And another couple of girls have said it. When we go loud and cut, it feels like you're being welcomed. If that makes sense. Do you feel that when you go into the ship that you're welcome there now? It's not just a big chunk of metal with spirits roaming about, but it's actually, and you just answered it basically. You said there's Faye. That they actually look forward to you coming, or you feel it at home basically.
Yeah, it's like my second home. Even the first time I went on that ship, I fell in love with her like it was home. So I kind of joke around. Maybe in my past life I belonged on the ship. I don't know. Could be. You never know.
We have a question that was, thank you. That one. What was the most scariest place you've ever visited, and what scared you the most? Now for Faye, this will be interesting. Go ahead, because I know I know part of what you're gonna say. So go for it.
I don't even know what I'm gonna say. The scariest places I don't know. Help me out, Jen. What was that place?
I don't think so. I don't think you've actually been to any place. How about this? You and I, especially you, have been to places that are considered scary to many people, but
not to me.
But not to you. And I'm going to answer this one because I have never seen her scared about anything. She has not run away. She has not fled. She has not gone away from or anything. She goes towards.
That's true. Even with an apparition that I had to prove to myself was an apparition, I went towards.
So I don't think that there's anything that scared you the most, Faye. At least I haven't seen anything. I mean,
no, and I think a lot of it for me personally is just like I said, going in being very positive and being open and kind. So therefore, nothing's not like I said. Not that anything.
Even at the Belvada, you were so calm and crisp.
Yeah, I mean. There's
a lot going on too.
There was a lot going on, but I also feel like the fear factor has to do with the people you're with too, because we pick up on people's energy. So if you're around a bunch of people that are just scared crazy, you're going to pick that up. It's going to make you anxious. It's going to give you anxiety. So little things might go, crap, what was that? When in actual reality, it's nothing. So to me, like I said, I just go and being very positive. I haven't been that scared. I've been startled a couple of times, but not to the point where I never go back. Or I'm always trying to figure out what it is. Can I logically make sense of it first? And then if not, then I'm like, hey, thanks for listening right here, kind of thing. But yeah, so far been lucky.
No, you have been you have not been in the freaked out sector of things.
No, I've done the defense mode a few times when other people, I've helped Jen kind of stand up behind her when her buttons have been pushed a little bit much. A couple other friends too. I won't put up with it. Not like, what am I going to do? But I put on that mother bear persona kind of thing and go, huh?
They like to pick on me.
They do like to pick on you.
I mean, the thing, the scare factor, right? You're not offensive people who do get scared, but when people go, they know where they're going. They know they're going to hunt for spirits or ghosts, whatever they want to call them. And then, well, why are you scared? It's the same as when you see teams investigate, and you see a lot on TV, and they'll be investigating, and they'll hear a noise, and they'll run away. I've seen this many a time.
Oh my God, that drives me crazy.
I don't do that.
Oh my God.
Why are you running away? You came here to find something. You found it. Now you're in the car. Why?
Yeah. It's happening now. Yeah. You need to stay because they're trying to work.
Faye has witnessed this, whereas I have seen Faye in lots of places. She has not been necessarily freaked out, but she's right. When she has been the mama bear about the protection thing, because when we were at the Belvada, and that's when one of the spirits there decided to go, I'm going to hone in on you, which was me, by the way. And it got to the point where I felt, what's the word I want to look for? Surrounded.
Ganged up on. That even happened to you at the Queen Mary as well.
It did. It happened when we were in a place where we really should have been. But yeah, it happened on the Queen Mary too. For some reason, I get ganged up on, and Faye doesn't go through that freaked out mode because her mind automatically goes to, nope, I can't freak out because now I'm helping this person or I'm helping that person.
Yeah, and it's usually like, hey, this isn't cool, guys. We're here to communicate and learn your stories. Don't be jerks to us. We're not here to harm or hurt you in any way or be disrespectful. Show us the same. Quit picking on my friend, dang it.
That one was an interesting one. I think that's probably the most, besides the night being in the pitch dark, was probably the worst I've ever been freaked out. Technically, I mean, I got startled. I've been startled. Startled is not the same as being freaked out.
Yeah, I get more frightened by real people because, like I said, I've gone to some of these events. Some of them were drunk and just you just don't know what you're dealing with, and if the people aren't taking charge of that and go, hey, no, you need to go. It makes it an uncomfortable situation. You don't know what you're experiencing with people that are to that point. And like Jen said, snakes and spiders. I think it's just the real life that scares me.
Well, I mentioned that on my last
real danger
about the spider. I'm like, but
that was pretty funny though. I did invite them in. I did say come in.
She didn't exactly say the ghosts and the miners. She said, if anyone or anything is out there that would like to come in
and get to know, And when the spiders did come in, I started laughing. I go, well, I guess I did invite them in.
You did invite everything.
I did invite them in. And then then I changed the song and dance. I go, okay, I did open the door, but now we're closing it. Only spirits that want to come in and talk to us can come in.
So she had
the rest of y'all can stay outside there.
So literally rethinking her thought, because I had to catch the spider to put it outside, right? So that's what
spiders.
Well, no, the big spider. The small spider was too small. It was like that small.
Big spider,
Okay, that one you freaked out about was like that big.
It's big enough. It's got 8 legs. It sticks to anything. I'm good. It can stick somewhere else away from me. I don't want to hurt it, but that's my first thing.
That's the only time I've seen you freaked out was because of nature coming in after you invited.
It's the real things. Spirits, I'm good.
Oh, and the deer. That
was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but we both freaked out over that one because we didn't know that.
You hear this something like heavy running towards you and leaping over a fence. You turn around, you don't know what the hell you're going to experience because
it didn't sound like a deer. It didn't sound like an animal. It sounded like someone running.
I turned around. I was very proud of myself because I didn't pee myself, for one.
Congratulations.
I know, and I didn't run. I actually had a camera and I turned around and I automatically started taking pictures. I got the butt end of the deer jumping over the other fence.
She did.
My heart was racing a mile a minute, but I was so proud of myself. I stuck my ground and took pictures.
We're holding on to each other. We're doing the whole, oh my God, it was a deer. It was a deer.
It took us a while. We laughed hysterically for a while.
Because we're outside. We're just helping out one of your friends, Faye's friends.
You're in the mountains. You're in the mountains.
In the mountains. You know what? Half of my brain was like, animals can happen. Didn't expect the deer.
We didn't expect the deer.
I'm very happy
full
to
speed
know
ahead
that
of deer hoofs on the ground. It's scary when you're hearing it in the dark. You don't know what's coming at you from behind.
It sounded like someone running at us.
I'm very happy you didn't.
No, seriously, I have the EVP still. I still have it.
That's awesome. It was hysterical.
Being on the Hornet obviously is full of sailors, whatever you want to call it, you know. Have you ever had one kind of fall in love with you, one that particularly sort of follows you about?
There's times I tend. I don't. Nobody's ever done anything inappropriate. They've been very respectful.
No, not inappropriate, but you do have one that follows you, a spirit that follows you around.
I have
with you.
I have like 2 spirits of all the EVPs. Even when I started going back to when I first started, I was hearing 2 distinctive male voices, and it was always when they would say my name during an investigation. To the point where I actually started going back and reviewing my old audio, going, okay, is there a message there? Why are you saying my name here? Is there something more deeper I should look into with this spot? But with those, I don't know. I still feel like they're like a teacher or a spirit guide.
Yeah, but this one calls you Red.
Well, I had one call me Red.
Yes, and that one followed you around that whole night.
Yeah, all night, yes. But I feel even with the spirits on the ship for a while, almost weekly for a few months, I believe, it was after we were already back open. Because I had my new stateroom, and outside my stateroom, religiously on Saturdays, 2 or 3 times, I would smell cigar smoke, like an officer, because I'm in officer country, so nobody else other than an officer can be up there. And I would always think, I'm like, well, thanks for keeping an eye on me. Like when I leave, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be gone for a few days. Keep an eye on my room. When I come back, it's thanks. Keep an eye on my room. Now you must exit my room. You know, there's been times I've been in my stateroom just sitting there and get the phantom overwhelming smell of cigarettes. I'm like, guys, there's no smoking in here. And it would just go away. And then when I go to get dressed or any of this, I'm like, guys, privacy, you need to stay outside the room. You know, or when I go to bed, okay, I'm turning in now. So good night. You must exit the room.
And
so, but I try to,
you know, you're talking to them as people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's a big factor. You know, I just wonder if anybody felt like, I know Laura's got experience of being liked by a spirit, shall we say? I'm being polite. She had a wee episode.
I definitely.
I'll tell them then. She was sitting in a chair and she got her backside felt. There you go. Her bum, sorry, Faye. Backside is up. Someone grabbed her bum. She was sitting on a chair and you like to see her shoot up. Oh! You know?
Just had that happen to her a couple of times on the ship before too.
Oh, it was the weirdest thing because I knew nothing was under the chair because my friend had sat previously on the chair for about an hour beforehand. She stood up to stretch her legs, so I sat down and literally within 3 seconds something touched my bottom. It was literally like a hand.
So I sat in it, nothing happened. I was gutted. I was so disappointed. I was sitting in it for 5 hours. Come on.
Oh, come on. There was a while that Faye wasn't getting any handling or anything touched. Other people would get goosed, and she's like, what the heck?
When we first started going to the ship, I used to go, it's okay. You can smack my ass. You can grab it. It's okay. And nothing would happen. Nothing would happen. But they would always play with my hair. They would mess with everybody else, but they would play with my hair. And I said, okay, they're being respectful to me.
Yeah.
They're being respectful. So I'm like, I appreciate that. So I stop offering up my butt for that. So I'm like, thank you for respecting me. I go, apparently I'm not respecting myself enough. So I go, thank you. But they still occasionally mess with my hair, but that's about it, you know.
Yeah, they don't. You've never been touched in that way on your butt, your
never.
arms. It's just always been your hair.
Occasionally on my arm or something, but yeah,
But
it's
not
always
like-
been respectful.
But not grabbed. You haven't been grabbed.
No.
It's something we've never done, offered up any body parts in investigations. You know, it's quite an unusual thing, I think, you know.
Well, you know, when you have other people around you and it's happening to them, and then even with Jennifer, and I'm like, hey, you kind of feel left out.
Well,
I was like, what? Is mine not good enough?
It's true. She's like, wait a minute, and I'm just doing the whole. She'll be doing that, and I'm just like, I have offered my, you know, whatever. Go ahead, touch me on the shoulder, whatever. But the next thing I know, I get a grope on my butt, and I'm like, that's not where I told you to touch me.
Yeah, exactly. You can touch my hand, you know, nice things like that. But yeah, so I haven't. The first few times we went there, I haven't since then. They've been very respectful. I mean, there's times even when I'm walking around, help turn lights off and whatnot. There's sometimes they're letting me know not to go in an area, so I respect that. You know, I'm like, you get that energy, that feeling like, don't go. I don't go. I'm all, okay. Good night, guys. I'll see you later.
It's an
And I go,
feeling, isn't it? That when you get that,
I've had plenty of experiences. Like, yeah, I pick up on their energy quite a bit, and a lot of times it's fine. You know, they're okay. But there's certain areas at certain times it doesn't matter. Even when the people are on the ship and you know the lights are on, I'm like, okay, you don't want me in this space for whatever reason. And so I don't push it. So I figure if I respect their boundaries, they're respecting my boundaries.
I'm sorry to hear that you've never had your ass felt in an investigation.
Never had that experience. Never had that experience.
She hasn't met the right ghost for it yet.
That's okay.
I dare say it's plenty of time to get your ass felt yet, you know. But I know what it's like to feel left out, you know. And this isn't a sob story or anything, but it's we done this castle about a year ago, something like that, a year and a half ago, and there was 5 or 6 days there, and everybody saw a kind of like a white mist shape going by what used to be the windows, except me. I never seen it. We done another investigation. It was an old school, that's what I can say. And everybody was hearing footsteps except me. I never heard it. As soon as we done Caldwell, people were hearing stuff and I couldn't hear it. I felt, you know, I thought, what's wrong with me? Why?
No, I had that happen on the ship. I was investigating with my friend Steve and his daughter, and it was before COVID. And we were in this one area. I had forgot my recorder, so I was using the recorder on my phone to just do a quick EVP session. And I kept sensing this gentleman behind us near a door because it's one room has 2 doors that go in it, and I just kept sensing him there. And we're playing back the audio, and on the audio when I said, "Is anybody here?" And I audibly heard a male's voice, and they heard it too. And he says, "I'm right here." I get up to look to see if anybody else was here, which nobody was near that area. They thought it was on the recorder. I go, no, it's not on the recorder. So I played it back. I found out the next day, both Steve and his daughter saw a gentleman standing there. Because he's all, there's somebody over there. I'm like, I know. But I'm always telling the spirits not to scare the crap out of me because I'm walking around a lot by myself. I don't want to see an apparition. Especially not by myself. I mean,
oh my God, it's so much fun. I mean, you just kind of go, oh, hello, I'm here.
But the thing is, because we have people, like I tell people, I'm always worrying about like someone that snuck on the ship or a stowaway snuck over. What am I going to do with a real person? So my thought is, I don't want to see you when I'm walking around by myself. I want to do what I need to do, go back to my room, and I'm safe. I'm good, you know? So twice I was with Steve, and the first one they both saw the first one, the full body apparition. The second one, we were in a compartment. We were straightening up the compartment. He saw a half of a body from the torso up. And he goes, I'm like, guys, this is when you're supposed to show yourself to me.
Oh,
When I have someone with me.
Kind of like when we were in the Marine Barrack area, and I saw the full body apparition, but you were staring exactly in the same area.
Exactly in the spot. And she goes, he's right there. I go, I don't see anybody.
I'm like, oh no, there was something there.
And everybody's saying, because I saw this, I saw that, and I just saw it again, get by the window. Somebody else said, I saw it again, but are you saying, you got this? Are you going looking for it? So, geez, I'm going out to look for this thing, you know. But I must say, when you says there, Faye, that you were standing there and you felt a gentleman stand beside you, I thought you were going to turn on you and say that you said to him, grab my ass or something like that.
You never know, right? It could happen.
Right? It could happen.
Oh my gosh.
But I hear them talk a lot, and they do say my name as I'm walking through the passageways by myself or with somebody else, and there's nobody else near us and stuff. So to me, I'm pleased with how they communicate with me a lot of the times that I'm there. So they don't have to. I would love eventually to be able to see an apparition with someone with me.
Well, you sort of did at Preston.
I saw the full body at Preston, yes.
Yeah.
And I had to prove to myself that what I saw was what I saw. I had to totally prove that it wasn't a real person.
But then
I tried to make it a real person. It wasn't.
I asked you the question. Somebody, I've been asked a couple of times, have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever seen a spirit? I say, well, to my knowledge, no, because who can actually say exactly what a spirit looks like?
Yeah.
Who's to say we've never been walking along the street and a spirit's passed us?
Yeah, they could be like, full, like, yeah. That's why I tell people when you're dealing with kids and stuff, when they're saying they're talking to somebody, to them they might look like us, a normal person, and they're just talking to a spirit. They don't know any better. How much do we dismiss and go, we're just thinking it's happening, and it's really happening, and we're just dismissing it because that's what we're kind of been programmed or taught to do as we grew up.
It's when people say, I don't believe in the paranormal. What a crap, And you say,
because it's scary to them.
Well, it's not just that. It's just they don't know the definition of paranormal. If they say they don't believe in the paranormal, then they don't know the definition.
Right.
And I've asked a couple of people, I said, well, have you ever had something happen to you in your life that you can't explain?
Mm-hmm.
You maybe thought you've heard something, seen something, felt it, and something maybe moved in your house, and you cannot explain that. Oh, maybe I said, well, how do you know that's no spirit? How do you know that's no paranormal?
Oh, exactly.
So, well, I never thought it that way. I said, well, that's the way we look at it. Yeah. If you can't explain it, then we're not saying 100% it's spirit, but if you can't explain it, then
it's unexplainable, therefore it's paranormal. Yeah.
And
I've experienced where on some of the tour groups I've had a couple people that flat out admitted that they're a skeptic. They don't believe, but they're here because somebody bought them a ticket or they're here with a friend, and I said just be open-minded. By the end of the tour, they became believers because they cannot rationalize what they experienced. They can't. I go, that's all I'm asking. I don't expect you to. I go, we're not going to get all the answers we want. I go, but now you're a little bit more open and willing. And I said, and that's a wonderful thing, And I think a lot of people, even with Jen and I dealing with residential cases, you get a lot of guys like, I'm trying to support my wife, but I don't really believe what she's experiencing. I come to the conclusion that most guys are designed to protect their wife, their family. That's what men are just programmed to do. And it's hard to protect somebody against something that they're experiencing or seeing or feeling, and they're not. It's scary. Right. It's easy to believe. It's easier to say to them, it's easier to say, oh, you're just full of it. Stop watching the show. Stop doing this. Stop. It's all in your head, because they can't punch a ghost. They can't do any of those things that guys are physically designed to do to protect their family.
I
think really interesting.
A lot more people, I said this to Sophia and Kel last week, I think a lot more people are interested in the paranormal than they'll actually admit.
Right, yeah.
There's a lot of people out there, because I know we've met a few, and soon as you say, with paranormal investigators. They say, all right, I've always been interested in that.
No, while you guys were all talking about that, I found the definition, or at least the most widespread definition.
I'm going to mute
paranormal.
myself real quick because my grandma's knocking at my door. Let me mute
Okay.
them real quick.
Okay,
You
no
keep
problem.
talking.
Okay. The definition by Webster's dictionary is not scientifically explainable. That is the simplest definition of paranormal. Mind you, there's a lot more definitions of paranormal, but that is the most wide, by Webster's dictionary, that is the most accepted definition. So with that just being said, that if it's not scientifically explainable, but you don't want to believe in the paranormal, but you don't believe that it's scientifically, you can't explain it scientifically, then how can you not believe in the paranormal?
I do things paranormal, ghosts. That's a first thing.
Because that's what, because like what Faye was saying, that over time, that's what paranormal definition has become. The name of a lot of words that we use in the paranormal world have changed because they want to expand on certain things. They want to expand that, okay, paranormal is only ghosts, spirits, demons, whatever. Fortunately, paranormal isn't. It's just anything that cannot be explained scientifically or theoretically because you have no explanation for it. The science cannot back it up. So that's technically what paranormal is. It's anything that is abnormally not, there. So so people who say they don't believe in the paranormal, I'm like, you obviously don't know the definition of paranormal.
I think, as I was saying, I've seen and heard words in different times in my life. But that is right. See, I've seen people will, if something ever happened that you can't, and they'll say, oh, aye, that has. And you can see the wee wheels starting to turn.
Mm-hmm.
You're not trying to convince them, you're not trying to convert them to start going investigating, but you're just trying to sort of say to them, look, open your mind up a wee bit, because there is stuff there. It's just, it's due to you whether you believe it or not.
Right, because you have what Shakespeare, of the whole idea with him saying that the unseen world, and he wrote a lot of that in his plays. I mean, he had it with Hamlet, he had it with Macbeth, he had it in a lot of other, unfortunately, tragedies, of the unseen world. And when he had the play As You Like It, when you had Jakes talking to the king, telling him, well, you don't know everything because this is, there's so much beyond what you see. You only want to see what's here. You don't want to see what you can't see.
Mm-hmm. And basically, you just tell them, I sometimes say, look into the field. As you're standing at a gate at a field, instead of just looking at the gate, look into the field and you'll see a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I don't makes sense. But I have got another question for you, Faye. It's nothing to do with the Hornet, but I just want your opinion on this. I know Jennifer's the host and I've done a lot of talking, so I do apologise, Jennifer.
No, I have stuff, but I told you, privately we're all talking. If you have questions, please pop in. Say something. Ask away. I'm just making sure it's being guided, so if we get in a lull, I can go, okay, how about this?
Yeah, no worries.
Go ahead, Scott.
Can I ask you before I forget what it is?
You better do it.
No, it's nothing to do with you, Faye, or nothing. These people recently who claim to be in touch with past on celebs. Now, there's a big hype over here just now about individuals, shall we say, who are claiming to have been in contact with certain celebs that passed on.
I know what you're talking. I know where he's getting at. I know exactly where you're going.
Well, it glitched a little bit, so I missed part of it. That's why I was what?
I'll let you ask her, Jennifer, because you speak American. I don't.
I've also been speaking to you for 2 years.
I don't even speak American.
It's okay. Sometimes I end up typing like you talk, so that's the way it goes. In recent news, there has been people who claim that when a celebrity has passed away, whether they're really famous or semi-famous,
because they got in contact with them as soon as they
yes,
passed.
Yeah.
And then they get this EVP, and then they go, hey, and they show it to everyone. What are your thoughts on that?
For one, I think a lot of times, I don't know, for me, just because somebody passed right away doesn't mean you're actually going to make contact. I mean, they have that time of transition. We don't know what their transition time is. They might need more time to kind of learn before they move on or do whatever it is they're going to choose to do. Just because they died now, an hour, 5 hours later, what makes you think you're going to have that kind of connect? I would think, if anything, they'll be connecting with watching relatives or trying to find ways to let them know, like, hey, I'm here. It's that feeling. Or why would, I don't know, me personally, if I pass away and there's still something I want to let them, like, oh, I'm okay or whatever, I'm going to do it to the person I want them to feel that it's okay. Why would I go wherever, connect to somebody that's got a spirit box and say, so they can say, oh, I just talked to this person.
Yeah, it's been our team here has been talking a lot about it lately, about individuals that are out there, without naming names, who have claimed that they can talk or have these EVP sessions with famous people. Most recently, several. I counts up to 10 different people I found. I don't know them all. 10 different people saying that they have claimed to talk to Lisa Marie Presley. Yeah, that's the most recent claim. And before that, claims have been other celebrities, not just here in America. I mean,
I'll name some of them, Jennifer, and if the individual's watching, they can come up. I don't give a.
I'll go for it. If
I don't care if they do happen to see this show and they click on who I'm talking about, then fine, bring it on, because I'm over here in Scotland and I'm a Glaswegian and we don't give a. Basically. I know. In touch with Lisa Marie Presley, Queen Elizabeth II, Patrick Swayze, Elvis Presley, John Robin Williams, Jeff Dahmer, Olivia Newton-John. Do you want me to carry on? Because I'm going to write up.
There's a lot. Well, my thing is
well, that individual seems to catch a lot of them, but we also notice, as I said, there's up to 10 people now, 10 people out there that claim that they have talked to Lisa Marie Presley after she had passed. I found 4 investigators that said that they talked to Betty White. I saw 3 investigators that said that they claimed that they talked to Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah.
I was gonna say, for me, I don't go looking to see what are they claiming they've heard.
Just they're asking questions. It's what was it? The one it was
the one with Lisa Marie Presley. Yeah. She claimed that she was there, and then Elvis was meant to have jumped into this one as well to say that he was there with her. And the thing is, see, when you doubt these people, they go in a proper, what's the word I'm looking for? Huff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me, with things like that, it's like whatever floats your boat. If that makes you happy to if that's what you experience, because honestly, we all that's what I experienced. That's my truth. If that feels that's their truth, that's their truth. But for me, with anything like that, or even people that claim they're psychic and all this, tell us something that you just can't look up on Google. That a family member can validate for you. Yes, this is her. This is what we called her. This is her nickname. Or something that a family member could go, oh, yeah, okay, you're talking to that person. Because someone just saying, hi, I'm here, those basic things, that could be anybody. Yeah. I'm not saying they're not experiencing somebody. Spirits are jokesters like they were in life. I mean, what makes you think they think they're talking to so-and-so and just lately,
well, with all these celebrity deaths, it seems like lately these people feel that they can talk to these celebrities. One, they've never been near them, or 2, they're too far away to even know of them. But somehow, I'm wondering what makes them so special that they supposedly contacted said individual. So that's why it's been hot topics lately.
Yeah, I don't know. I know with me personally, I don't, even with people that my loved ones that have passed, I don't try to connect. I don't dwell on it. I hope that their spirit goes on to their next journey. And
I find it a little disrespectful.
Yeah, let them rest in peace. Let them, if after they're gone for a while and they come back and they try to connect, that's different. Let them take their journey. Let them see where they're going to go.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, especially with people passing away nowadays, I think pretty much everybody's either more open to what's going on in the spiritual world than they used to be back in the day when religion was really a fear factor in some cases, and people didn't know once they die where they were going. You know, I don't know. It's. I think again, it's about respect. I mean, why would you get these family members that are grieving a loved one, whether famous or otherwise? Why would you? It's hard. Everybody grieves differently, and their connection with that person is going to be different. So why would you keep hashing that up and then that person's like, but I love them. Why aren't they talking to me? Why are they talking to you? You know, those types of things. It's like, let them grieve. Let them have it.
But it was one of those things that she had just passed, and I literally talked to Scott, and I'm like, because I listened to a lot of the paranormal diatribes of the rumor mill, and everyone's all, you know, how soon are the worms coming out of the woodwork, and they're going to do this? And literally, what was it? The next day? Literally, the next day.
And then on the other note, you got to look at it too. They also do it for the limelight. It brings attention to them. It brings attention to, okay, what are they doing now? It's like the tabloids. When you have actors, you know, I always say, like, when all of a sudden you haven't heard anything about actors in a while or something, or somebody famous, and all of a sudden now, oh, this person's having an affair with this person, just to bring up all this stuff. Now you're like, you're interested. Now you're following. Now there's more going on. Right. More popularity back to that person, because now you're interested. We're so macabre, and we look for the negative and everything happening. So that's what we're looking for. So to me, it's just another way of getting more attention, and people are going to use whatever avenues they can to get that attention. You know,
it's disgusting. You know, we obviously, I'm a major Elvis fan. I've been for over 40 years. It's been a big part of my life for over 40 years. And when Lisa Marie passed away, you know, it devastated millions of Elvis fans around the world. You know, their family as well, obviously, but millions of Elvis fans around the world. You know, when Elsie's daughter passed away, and then you get this clown, you know, this monkey, who within 24 hours, you know, is, oh, I've got Lisa Marie Presley here. She came to talk to me. You know, did she bollocks? Do you know what I mean? And it's these people.
That person did the same thing about Queen Elizabeth II.
Queen Elizabeth II.
And I'm like, you're across the freaking pond, dude.
And I commented on the Queen Elizabeth one. Because I said, see, if you lived in the UK, you would be hunted down.
Yeah, it was the few EVPs that people have claimed seem to have collaborated together, because it's almost the same. I don't know if it's all the same EVPs that they say that they have claimed. It's something about how she mentioned she was okay and she was now with Philip. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what that doesn't even sound like the Queen. Why would the Queen be so less formal? That doesn't sound like how she would respond.
But ultimately, on a different note, you guys are giving this person exactly what they want.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't.
You're giving them what they're looking for. There's attention, and you're talking about them, and it continues and continues.
It's just disrespectful, regardless.
It's one of these things. I was going to do a live about it, but we talked about it, we spoke about it within the team, and it's been burning a hole in my.
But it's not just that one person. There's a lot of people out there.
There's a lot, and the other thing that amazes me is the people that actually believe it.
I mean, come on, Faye. You and I know that there's people that we have met, paranormal investigators, who claim that they're in contact with some spirit on some location and that they have this personal connection. But then you and I find out that that's not the truth, because we had different evidence to suggest otherwise. Like the one case that we went to where the guys claimed to have crossed someone over.
And there were still the EVPs.
And there was still EVP and audio of said person, correct? So this is where this is all started from.
Again, it comes down to, like I said, our own truths. I mean, we have our experiences, we have our audio, our evidence of whatever, and we can show it to a lot of people. And if they did, they're going to have their own truth of how it is. We can scream up and down going, this is definitely the response of this person. It's the same thing all the way across. I mean, You're
All
going to
it
get
takes is
people
one.
that regardless what you're going to get the people regardless they love that person, they're going to believe everything that person
Of course
says. I mean,
they
it's
will.
just normal in life regardless of anything like this. You know, you're going to have like two people, you got one person that's close to one person and believe all the lies because they just believe in that person, even with the truth in front of their face. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen the same thing in the paranormal field.
Personally, I wish there was more people that can go out there like Houdini used to do and discredit the fake people that are out there. I'm not saying that there are a huge amount of fake people, but unfortunately there are some fake psychics, fake mediums. I mean, I have met few who are very genuine. They are who they are. They do what they do. They have wowed me because they didn't pull anything out of their ass that was from Google. It was everything that was personal or something I did not know and something I couldn't find out. But when I find a medium or a psychic or someone who pulls something like Faye said, you can find on Google, I question it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, you're gonna, you know, it's like with anything, you're gonna have the light and the dark, regardless. You can't have the dark without the light, blah, 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 right? It's the same with evidence. It's the same with fake people and real people. It helps bring light to either way. You get a lot of fake people start recognizing this is the truth. I mean, it's just the way it is. You can't have one without the other.
Unfortunately, that's the way it goes, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
You got to have one. You can't have one without the other. It's like
You
having
can't
an
have
entire
one without the other.
I mean, can you imagine?
You can't make a person believe what you're saying is true.
Right.
They have to make that decision on their own.
Well, as I said, it's like having an entire world of nothing. If all they are is good and they have nothing to counter that, how do they know that they are good? I totally get that. But unfortunately, we're just going to have to deal with that the whole time we're around.
And then you get people out there in the paranormal field that says if you do this, this is the correct way to do this, to investigate. This is the correct way to do this. Well, if that was the case, then every time you go out there and if I do the same exact thing, we would all get results.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
As I said, those are the gatekeepers, the people that tell you how to do it and that you are doing it wrong.
Yeah.
We've had that before.
If there was one way to do it, everybody would be doing it and we would all get results.
Agreed.
And we would all have answers. We're not supposed to have answers. And you can't have two people doing the same exact thing and always get the same results. Your energy is always going to be different. The way you do it and handle it and, you know, analyze it's going to be different. It just is.
People
I'm just looking at the time. We're going to have to start wrapping up.
Okay, boss.
Well, we've been going for almost 2 hours, so yeah.
It's been interesting topics.
I know. I know. If Faye and I can easily talk for another hour, that's not a problem.
We have.
Well, before I let you wrap up, Jennifer, says people watching it, Jennifer's going to finish the show, no me. But we're back tomorrow night with K&S Corner at 9:30, 9:30. And thanks to Faye for coming in. But Jennifer's the host.
Yes, great, thanks. So yeah, I know you're like, okay, which way do we point? Okay, I got to put that way there. So I give up.
Good idea.
Nice put words into your mouth.
Blah. Right? All right, so thank you, Faye, definitely for coming. Looking forward to doing more, especially other things, either together with Paranormal History or with or hearing about your stories on the Hornet. I know that Paranormal History has a lot going and has things planned. Obviously, on that side of the pond, Paranormal History for USA I have planned a once a month journey where I'm going to be going to different locations and talking about them as much as I can and try to at least enlighten people about the paranormal experiences. And yes, I'm still working on my podcast. That's just a slow project. Now, Faye is still working with the USS Hornet. She's also still with Angels of Light Paranormal Society. However, we're trying to convince her to come this way. Anyway, so thank you for having us. We hope you all enjoyed today. Have a marvelous rest of your day or night.
Yep. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the invite. Have a good one.
Bye. Bye.